Hey guys, so recently I just hit Eternus by only solo queuing, and as you can see, I mostly did this by playing Calico, which recently is considered to be a trash character, D tier character. This character sucks, and I agree, this character does suck, but that doesn't mean that you can't rank up while playing a character that sucks, because fundamentally, the characters don't really matter in this game. It's what you do in the game to win the game, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you want to rank up and you can't rank up and you're stuck between these ranks right here and even maybe this video is for you. So why listen to me? Well, I hit eternus, which means I'm higher ranked than 95% of players, but no, I'm kidding. That's not the actual reason why. The actual reason is because I am not special. If I can do it, then you can too, right? After all, we're both human. Whoever I'm talking to in this video, we're both human, right? There's no AIs watching this video. Hopefully not. Anyways, now what makes my Eternus 1 journey impressive? Not to pat myself on the back here, but I did play under some pretty crazy conditions. First of all, I only solo queued, right? Which means I didn't have a duo to help me in lane. I didn't play with the 3 stack, I didn't play with the 4 stack. I no calmed every game, right? I didn't communicate to my team, I didn't tell them what to do. Maybe typed in chat every now and then, but that's obviously different from using voice. Using voice is a lot easier. I only use pings on the map. Also, didn't watch a single guide. Not on YouTube, not on TikTok. I only played the game and, maybe saw some tips and tricks on TikTok, but none of those tips and tricks were anything crazy or that I didn't already know about. Everything I learned is from common sense. Just use your brain. It's not that hard. You have a brain, just use it. And also, I played pretty dog shit characters as of this current patch, which came out at this whatever time, which is pretty recently, that I made this video. But yeah, I played Calico, Paradox, and Vindicta, which are B to D tier characters. And I main Calico, which was the character I used to climb to Eternus, and Calico is quite literally possibly the worst character in the game, besides maybe I don't know, maybe Graves. Calico is pretty dog shit. So yeah, if I can hit Eternus playing Calico, then you can hit Eternus playing whatever A tier character that you play. I was basically Rock Lee with weights. That's how I hit Eternus 1. So if you're Rock Lee without the weights, then surely you can hit Eternus 1 as well. But on to the next. For example, I didn't know heavy melee on Sinners give sword buffs until literally yesterday. For some reason, in my games, I would always just light melee the Sinners. I don't know why. Even though visually, it literally says, it literally shows you how much buffs you get, right under, right above your abilities, right? And each time I light melee the Sinners, it only gave me 1. For some reason, in my mind, I didn't think there was a difference between heavy melee and light melee. I don't know why. So essentially, I might have lost some games on my way to returners simply because I didn't know that. Simply because I probably didn't get some buffs that could have maybe contributed to a team fight that maybe would have changed the outcome to a team fight. But anyways, it goes to show that some of these things don't really matter all too much. I still don't know what half the items in the game do. Yeah, you heard me. Obviously, I know a decent amount. I know the ones that do matter, but in terms of actually everything, I don't know. I still don't know what Scourge does. Sometimes, actually, I don't know if I've built it or not on Calico, but I quite literally don't know what that item does. Maybe it might help me win some of my games, but it's not all too important to, know every single thing in the game. Just know what matters. And I think you can make that judgment yourself, because I build what I think works. And on Calico, you don't really need to build too complicated. Currently, I do use a weapon Calico build, but yeah, anyways, I'll make a more in-depth Calico build, if this video gets some more traction, because I'm in Calico. But anyways, I didn't bother to read what my hero abilities do until around late Phantom to early Sin. So I basically just didn't know what my heroes did. I made Paradox for the longest time, and basically I just didn't know what he did, right? Until late Phantom to early Sin. But yeah. Anyways, on to the actual important stuff. Enough about me. Number 1, the mindset. Number 2, the most important macro. And number 3, the most important micro. Let's get on to it. Mindset. 95% of games you lose or win is because of you. You control your games, not the enemy nor your teammates. This kind of applies less the more you rank up. For example, in Ascendant, it's probably around 90%. This game is very different from other games because in this game, you directly have so much agency on how you influence the game. If you get fed, right? If you get fed on your team, you have the most souls on your team, and obviously you're the strongest on your team, which means you can contest more objectives, which means you have more tempo, which means you can prioritize laning, which means etc, 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 right? And then if you die and lose that lead, that is your fault, right? The reason you probably lost that game is because you died to the enemy Wraith and they got like 1k soul off of you, right? Let's say you had like a 500 bag, right? They got 1k souls off of you, and then that was enough to just snowball them for the rest of the game because obviously your teammates aren't gonna realize that. Don't play if you tilt at your teammates. Do the community a favor and stop playing. If you tilt easily, just don't play the game. What's the point? You play the game to have fun and win, obviously, right? But if you don't have one of those, then simply what's the point? But also, if you tilt in general at the game itself or for other whatever reasons, also just stop playing. You statistically will perform worse because having a cool head means more logical thinking. It means you win more games because games are won based off logic. That's just how it works. Finally, ask yourself, how do I win this specific game? If you're playing a game, right, and let's say, I don't know, there's a Wraith with like 60k souls on the enemy team. How do you win this game? Obviously, you kill the Wraith. The answer can be a bunch of different things, but it's simple. Just kill the Wraith. Obviously, how you do it can be nuanced, but it's pretty simple. You yourself have to kill the Wraith most of the time, right? You're playing, unless you're playing like a support or whatever, but that's different. But then the answer becomes you help your carry kill the Wraith. So it's pretty simple. Just kill the carry on the opposite team. That's really how you win games. If you kill the carry, the enemy team can't really do anything. You can contest more objectives, etc., etc., etc. Anyways, the most important macro, the good stuff. Awareness abusing / abusing awareness. Players in this game are super unaware, and I'll go into why that what that means. But first, what is awareness? Well, just look at the definition. Awareness is a state of having knowledge, consciousness, or perception of a situation, fact, or sensation. Basically, awareness is knowing something about something. Yeah, that's basically how I explain it. Just knowing something about something. That's pretty simple, and I think you guys get what I mean. But essentially, just abuse what the enemy doesn't know. So, for example, let's say you know that let's say you're in Ritualist. You know certain camp timings that the enemy doesn't, right? Sinners spawn at was it? Fuck, I don't even know myself. I think it spawns at 8 minutes. Sinner spawn is at 8 minutes, right? They spawn at 8 minutes. That means you can move faster than the enemy. Get pry on your wave, move faster than the enemy. Let's say the enemy doesn't know that they're literally below half HP, right? And they're just sitting under a half HP tier 1 walker, right? Whatever that's called. You can just dive them, just kill them. Like, who cares, right? Let's say they don't know about the wave condition, right? Let's say that they're hovering like towards this side of the map, and then the other side is pushing. Well, just force the fight then, because even if you lose, right, they're gonna lose waves. So yeah, and then obviously other things, positioning, etc. Basically, if the enemy is unaware of a certain concept in the game, how could they beat you? If you know more than the enemy and you act on that knowledge, what can the enemy do? You're just outsmarting them, basically. This game is all about having awareness. So, for example, look at this game right here. There is something severely wrong with the stats, obviously, but in this game, basically, if you look at the Infernus on my team, this guy went 8 and 20, but he also had the most damage, the most objective damage, and we won the game, right? Crazy. 8 and 20 Infernus and we won the game. But this guy on my team obviously abused, obviously, and then if you look at me, you know, my stats, I'm 10 and 2 and 8 assists, you know, whatever. But this guy knew something in the lobby that the enemy couldn't respond to. This guy basically, I'll tell you what he did. Basically, he's playing Dash Infernus, and he started just running it down on one singular lane. And basically, the enemy has to respond to that, right? But because Infernus is stupidly OP right now, Dash Infernus makes you unkillable, and it also does so much damage to the objectives. This guy will literally just run it down a single lane. And by the way, this is like high ascendant lobbies, right? This guy would literally just run it down lane. The enemy would have had to send like two, like at first they sent one, right? But then one started not becoming enough because Infernus is stupidly OP in 1v1s, right? So they started sending two, right? And then two just started not becoming enough because I'm also snowballing on the opposite side. So they have to send more towards me as well. But then they also have to respond to Infernus. So they started sending two to Infernus. Two started not becoming enough. And then once they sent three, at that point, Infernus did his job, just three on Infernus. And he's doing damage to the walkers. And he's taking their entire base. But I'm also scaling on the opposite side of the team. So like this Infernus clearly knew something that the enemy team didn't, which was just pressure and how broken his character was. The enemy team doesn't realize how to counter this guy. Obviously they can probably like if just based off looking at their comp, they could probably just send Viper and Dynamo. And honestly, what can Infernus do, right? But obviously, the enemy team didn't play correctly, which is why they lost. Next, the most important micro. In order, it goes ability, skill shots, slash usage, aim, positioning, and then movement. But above all else is item usage. Every item that is in this picture is an act. And basically, those are the only items that you really need to understand in the game. Like if you're gonna look at items and try to read what it does, those are the items that you need to understand in the game. That's the most important. It's pretty self-explanatory why this is the most important. Better item usage means the enemy has to respond with equal amounts of item usage, or else they just lose, because items are OP in this game. Enemy team has knockdown, counterspell. Enemy team has stacks that make you take damage over time, just dispel magic. It counters their entire kit, right? Enemy too slippery, just slow X them. They can't run anymore. If they don't respond correctly to the items that you present, then you just basically win fights. That's just how it is. So, how do I get better item usage? Honestly, I really can't tell you. It just simply comes down to experience. Learn when or what time you popped an item and when it was good versus when it was bad. When you got the most value, when it was the most optimal, when you should have maybe popped it earlier, when you should have maybe popped it a little bit later. I think this stuff just comes down to experience and intuition. But this aspect is pretty easily coachable. Just get someone who knows the game better than you to coach you, right? And then to tell you when to use it, because sometimes people just forget to use stuff, and that's okay. Like I sometimes be forgetting to use fleet footwork on Calico even when I should. But anyways, other tips. Games are easily throwable. Please don't celebrate too early by trying to 1v6. I've lost so many games because I would help my team get the lead so early, right? And we would basically win the game at 25 minutes. But 25 minutes in a game like Deadlock doesn't automatically mean you win the game. If you die once or twice, you can easily give the enemy team a chance to come back. Games are always winnable. That applies for your team and also the enemy team. So if you start trying to 1v6 and then you end up dying, and then guess what? The enemy carry got your souls from like a 500 to 1k bag, and you end up just start tossing your games, just know that it was your fault. Watch your own games, then compare it to pro gameplay. Understand what's ideal versus what's happening in your games. Basically, pro play is Deadlock if it was in an entirely ideal scenario, right? Entirely ideal where both teams play exactly how you would want and the games are even. But that's not how it works in solo queue. Solo queue is literally just whatever happens, right? And I think it's good to separate the two. Street Brawl is low-key OP practice. If you want to practice a certain character's mechanics, for example, I wanted to play Apollo for a bit, I literally just entered Street Brawl, played like 10 games of Apollo, learned when to use his riposte, learned like how to use his like slashes like in certain ways. Like it's pretty good. Like it took me like 10 games for me to get used to that character, and I literally entered a game on Apollo and won my first game. So yeah, having fun is okay. Right? Having fun is entirely okay. I love that people are having fun in Deadlock. In fact, I'm having fun at Deadlock. But you know what's better than having fun? Freaking beating the enemy team. Winning feels so much better than just having fun talking to your teammates. Cause fuck that. I want to win the game. That's what I play the game for. I want to win. Winning feels so much better. The end. Congrats. If you applied everything I said in this video, you are now officially the best player in the server. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I might make a Calico guide soon. After all, I'm almost ranked 6-7, 6-7 on Calico. But yeah, please subscribe. I want to make more videos. More subs equals number dopamine spike equals I have more motivation to make videos. Anyways, goodbye.